Hey guys, Mechanical Mike checking in. I did a video maybe 2 years ago about replacing the front drive shaft for a four-wheel drive on a Dodge Dakota, which is behind me here, 2004. And actually, that CV joint on that drive shaft failed. It was a brand new drive shaft. And the reason it failed was because it allowed all of that grease to escape, and it dried out the joint, and it went bad again within a few months. I finally gotten around to fixing it. I've just been kind of driving it when I need four-wheel drive, which isn't that often, and it just sounds terrible. But I figured I'd fix it again before it gets to that. So this time around, I didn't buy a whole new drive shaft. I just got the CV replacement kit, and it's pretty easy to do, and it'll save you a lot of money. Then you don't have to throw away a whole drive shaft if it's good. You know, maybe if your U-joint's going bad, this would be a good time to replace that. This one seems fine for now. So this kit came with these two pieces, the center CV joint, which I can take off and show you. Well, I just compressed it on there, so it might not come off just as easily. So this piece right here, let's see, here's the original one. You just had to pop that off, not too hard to do, and then slide the whole thing off. Here's the old CV joint. You can see that totally just dried out, and I was just getting chewed up. No grease in there at all. So yeah, lessons learned, but that gave me a chance to show you this one. So you put that, you slide that on. You don't have to clamp that yet. It might be good so that when you do, this piece comes separately from that. And what you do when you put this piece on, well, I really kind of do want to take this off to show you. Let's see if I can. There we go. So there's the new CV joint. It has a groove on one side that comes with a gasket, and that's going to face out. The one that doesn't have a gasket faces this way. And so you push this, you put this piece on first, and then you slide this on. You put a bolt through to make sure your holes line up, and then you just take a pair of channel locks, you go around the edges real lightly, not doing any damage. You can even put tape on that if you want, if you're worried about causing any damage. Put tape on the threads of your channel locks, and then just pinch it evenly all the way around until it's seated well. And then you go ahead, take this side, and there's a little snap ring that goes in the middle. You can see it's covered up now, but you know, a lot of people will try and do that with pliers or something. You really kind of just need snap ring pliers. These come apart because you can use different styles. But that allows you to hold the snap ring and spread it like that. Spread it open, pop it in place. It'll save you so much time. Your spring isn't going to go shooting off somewhere. And then you just take a tip of your screwdriver and you push that in to make sure everything's sitting. You'll hear a little snap, and that's kind of confirmation. You just double check. Then we're going to put that gasket on there. I've got 4 bolts in here just as my guide. You can put all of them on if you want. And then I made sure that there was this grease came with that. I packed it all the way in on both sides. There was some remaining grease I stuffed into this back end of that, and a little bit just around those edges there. Didn't put any up on the outside because that's where the bolts are going to go. There's a gasket that's supposed to hold that in. This gasket kind of wants to pop out, but we should be all right. So there we go. Sliding that on there. Bolts line up. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to take this to kind of pinch it down a little bit. It doesn't require much force. And this side doesn't really seat the same way the other side does, but it is going to be snug. So when you go to put your CV joint back, or your whole drive axle back in there, that cap isn't going to pop off the end. And that can be kind of a pain in the ass because it's a tight space to fit in there. Okay. So that's basically it. It's actually pretty easy job to do to replace that CV joint, and I would definitely recommend it if you have a good drive axle and you don't need to replace the whole thing. A good way to tell is when you pull that off, make sure those teeth aren't all chewed up in there. And if the teeth are good, not on this one, but on the spline, on the drive shaft, then you still have a good drive shaft, so there's no point in replacing that whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this back in the truck and then bolt it back together, and that should be good. Thanks for watching.